God, do you ever feel like you're not on your A game? I think this is like the 5th or 6th time I started recording this. Yeah, maybe something like that. I don't know. I'm not feeling it today. So I always feel like when you're not feeling it, you just got to hit record and just go with it. Stop all the pretenses, Kyle. Stop trying to be a podcast show host. Just talk. Just talk about the video game news off the cuff, and we will. Okay. It is February 28th, 2025. I'm Kyle Stolick, your host for this Endgame recap video game news show. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for spreading the word. I've been seeing some stuff, so thank you very much. I appreciate it. There's a lot going on in the gaming industry right now, and I'm going to start off with a bit of sad news, and I tried to layer this one with a lot of good, hopeful news, a lot of stuff using words that I don't know the definitions of, and what else we got going on? Oh, yeah, and I got to say, you better tell people about this podcast. Do you know why? Because you are going to look good, because after this podcast comes out, days after, I start seeing some of the news items circulate around gaming industry bigwigs and on LinkedIn and that type of stuff. So, if you want to beat those people to the punch of what's hot in video game news, better listen. And that doesn't mean that you should keep this as your private informational podcast, your secret weapon, if you will. No. Share the love. Because Daddy needs to get paid. All right, so let's open it up with a good news item. I'm going to flip it here really quick. 4 classic Command & Conquer titles are now open source. EA is relinquishing the source code for its legacy RTS franchise under the GPL license. In an uncharacteristically charitable move, this is at Polygon, remember? That's what they said. EA has made the source code for 4 of its legacy Command & Conquer titles available to the public under the GPL license. This includes the restored original source code for both Command & Conquer and Red Alert, as well as the Sage-powered Command & Conquer Renegade and Command & Conquer Generals, while fan projects like OpenRA and OpenSage have produced their own approximations of the code that powered these titles. Having free versions of the original code to work with is a huge benefit to video game preservation and future developers. And it kind of goes into what it takes to do that and all that. It's just good news. The gaming companies don't often release that source code, and one thing to note is that we tried to do this at Eidos Montreal for Thief. We spent a lot of time trying to release the original Thief code to the public, but we couldn't find it. We searched high and low for it. We just didn't have access to it, and that's something that we wanted to do. So if someone has it out there, send them this podcast and be like, hey, they wanted to at the time. But it was really cool. We wanted to give fans that opportunity to play with it. And I think this needs to happen more often for legacy titles. Like, how much money is actually being circulated because of these old games in their current state? You know, the media value of a goodwill of giving away the source code for an old game. Fantastic. Now, did they do this because of what Valve did? Probably not. Negotiations or all that were probably underway for a long time before, but if they did, cool. Domino effect, right? Okay, let's go on to the other news. This is one from Newsweek. Sad news, ladies and gentlemen. Warner Brothers shuts down Wonder Woman and Multiverses developers. So they shut down 3 developers or 3 studios this week: Monolith Productions, Player First Games, and Warner Brothers Games San Diego. Very sad to see people lose their jobs. I saw a lot of people really happy about this because of the Suicide Squad. So to keep a very long and horrible story short, the Suicide Squad game was the kind of multiplayer sequel to the Batman Arkham games, which sold very, very well. The Suicide Squad was from Arkham, Rocksteady, the same developer. A lot of different team members, of course. It was a multiplayer game, live service title, kind of like Destiny. And Harley Quinn wasn't as sexy in there, according to some people, as she was in the Arkham games. She was more covered up and her face looks different. And in the game, there were actual pride flags in a couple of spots. It felt really genuine. Like, it made sense to have these pride flags where they were. But the incel community and Gamergate people really brigaded this game, and they spread a lot of toxic information around there. They hounded people. They sent death threats. It was really messy. So they wanted it to fail. Now, did the game fail because of changing Harley Quinn and the pride flags? Of course not. That's ludicrous. But that doesn't stop these people from using that narrative as one that they can tout, that they personally are responsible for destroying this game. So a lot of those people now are very happy that WB Games, the publisher of the Suicide Squad, is feeling the effects right now of an industry in decline, if you will. Although industry revenue is up, a lot of these studios are shuttering. What's that tell you? A lot of money is flowing to the top, right? Okay, for certain people. But yeah, so there's a lot of people really happy that people have lost their jobs right now. And it hurts. It hurts. I see these people in my feeds on LinkedIn, on various social platforms, and it hurts. So if you see that shit happening, if you see these fucking maniacs saying shit like that, you have a few options, right? Call that shit out and get into an endless war with them. You can, what I would recommend doing, here, I'll get straight to the punchline. Call it out and block those people. Block them. They're not worth your time. Do not engage with them online. Do not engage with them in person. Do not talk to these people. They will try and exhaust you the best they can. Thank God I have a background in community management, because I'm a trained elite at this. But yeah, I've spent a lot of time trying to understand these people, what their motivations are, and they're just crazy. So do not engage these people. So if you're one of these people affected by this job loss, ignore them, or the firings here and these studios closing. I'm so sorry it's happening to you. My condolences on that part of your life being gone. I'm sure there was a lot of really great work done on the Wonder Woman game. So let's blast through a few news items right now. We spent too much time talking about that. Oh, toxicity always gets me going. It's probably why there's a lot of clips about me talking about toxicity on social right now. And more to come. Okay, this one says Epic gave away nearly 600 million games in 2024, and it's not slowing down for 2025. So the Epic Game Store, in order to compete with Steam on PC, it is giving away lots of games. Every month there's new games. It's not all like $2 and $3 games either. It's expensive stuff. They basically use the money that they generated from Fortnite, which was billions and billions and billions of dollars, to create their own store, because why would they want to give away a percentage of their income to other, platform holders? Makes sense, right? A lot of people didn't like when they created this platform. Excuse me 1 second. So their angle is that they can't beat other platforms like Steam in an outright slugfest. So they got to play it a different way. So they have Fortnite. They have a lot of user-generated content through Fortnite. But they're also giving away a lot of games. So it says 1,100 new games were released on Epic in 2024, taking the total number of games on the storefront to over 4,000. That's still a far cry from Steam, which saw nearly 19,000 new games arrive in 2024. Where is it? There was more about... Where's the giveaway in this article? Oh yeah, here it is. It says Epic ran into unexpected financial issues in 2023, saying it was spending way more money than we earn and laying off 800 employees as a result. Nonetheless, the game giveaways continued apace in 2024. Listen to this. With more than 595 million free games claimed last year, up from just under 586 million freebies in 2023. So that means the averages out to about $2,229 in quote total player value. So if you are a gamer on a budget, it behooves you to download the Epic Game Store to get lots of interesting stuff. It's cool. It's very cool that they're doing that they have the financial means to do it. But a flip side of that is that they have completely transformed the space. The value of a game. You know, a lot of people might be thinking, I don't know if there's any truth to this, but maybe it'll be free on the Epic Game Store. Maybe, you know, there was a thought when music went to subscriptions, you could listen to it on YouTube, that music would lose its value, that people would see it as a free commodity and it wouldn't be that special anymore. When it certainly transformed, I think is the best way to say it. Whether people hold music still as special is hard to say. I guess it's your mileage may vary. I think we can all feel how special a song is when it hits us in the feels. When you find that right song at the right moment, I don't care who you are, that connects. So it just changes. Things move on, right? Okay, so this is a cool article. It's kind of an opinion. It's a long piece. It's at The Guardian. It says, there's no stress. Gamers go offline in retro console revival. It says, this is kind of a cool way to start the article. Nestled between an original Donkey Kong arcade machine, a mint condition outrun racing simulation game, and booths wired up with GameCube and Nintendo 64s, the engineer Luke Malpass works away dismantling a broken Nintendo Wii. There has been a steady stream of people bringing in their old game consoles for repair and modifications on the house to Four Quarters, a retro games arcade in Elephant and Castle, which has been transformed into a games clinic for 2 days. So it talks about how more and more people are discovering retro games. They're loving old consoles, younger generations who didn't have to experience it. And they're finding these things need to be fixed. So the article talks about the growing business of fixing old consoles and maintaining the cartridges and the media. And I think that's really cool. And, you know, you take that to today and you look at all these, how everything is fucking digital. I have been bullish on digital for a long, long time. I didn't fully understand what we would be losing with the death of physical media, because now all these corporations and now all these online platforms can remove media overnight, or they can require you to be connected to the internet. Or the worst part about all of this, and I'm going to grab the microphone when I say this because I'm absolutely full of rage about this, they can change the media after it's out. Think about that. Something can come out and it can exist for decades, and there's no law that says the original in some way has to be out there. They can completely erase a piece of media just because maybe they don't like the lyrics, maybe it's not PC anymore, for whatever reason that may be, left wing, right wing, whatever you want to call it. Can we all agree that deleting media is bad? I'm a big fan of this lost media stuff. I've been down that rabbit hole quite a bit, but yeah. So that's what we wanted to talk about with that one. Oh, here's one that riled me up in a fun way. It certainly didn't rile this guy up in a good way. So Tekken 8, a fighting game, is known for its outlandish characters. And it's known for its game director. What's his name? Katsuhiro Harada. He always wears like these big sunglasses. He's a cool dude. I think he would call himself a cool dude, and I think people around him would say he's a cool dude. I haven't heard many stories of working with the guy. I'm sure he's intense, as a lot of these visionary type folks are. But he's one of my favorite people to follow in the game industry. Here's why. Is it because he's loud and outspoken, Kyle? Yes, it is, actually. It actually is. Wow, how'd you know that? So, to kind of tell the actual story here, there's a new game coming out for Tekken 8. Game came out last year. To maintain these games, you got to have a lot of DLC for it, including new characters to play. Anna Williams is one of them. She's the sister of Nina Williams, a character that has been in Tekken for a long time. If you want to go into to Tekken lore, fighting game lore, and stories, we can. Just write in. It's a core at realgoodthere.com. CORE. This one says, so basically what happened is they said, hey, we're going to release Anna. And fans were like, yeah. And then they said, this is what she looks like. And most of the fans said, yeah. And there were a few others said, I don't like that. Here's what happened. It says, when one fan asked Tekken game director and chief producer Katsuhiro Harada if the development team could bring back the old Anna design, Harada slammed the criticism, saying, if you prefer the old design, I am not taking those away from you. Which is true. Which is totally true. The old design still exists, just as like old albums of bands exist. Even if you don't like the new stuff, the old stuff still exists. And you know what? You're not getting the old stuff as in today's world, because that was lightning in a bottle and you were a different person. Okay, Harada continues, while 98% of the fans are welcoming this, there will always be people like you. I understand and sympathize that it may not suit your personal taste, but if you prefer the old design, past works already exist. I am not taking those away from you. That's my Harada voice. I'm going to keep doing it. Also, you refer to yourself as Anna fans, as if you represent all Anna fans, but you should express your opinion as an individual. You threaten to quit if she isn't brought back. You complain the moment she is brought back. You demand that she be reverted after she has been completely redesigned from scratch, including her model and framework. And if she actually were reverted, you just say, that's recycling. Either way, your method of expressing your opinion and the content of your argument are entirely unconstructive, utterly pointless, and, above all, disrespectful to the other Anna fans who are genuinely looking forward to her. Oh, shit. I like that, though. I like a little sass. People need to do that. I think we need to bring... This isn't me actually saying this. We don't need to bring back bullying, because I certainly faced a lot of it and it wasn't fun. But we need to bring back a certain level of love. You know what? No, screw you. Screw you for being that way. That's weird. That's weird to be harassing people over the way a video game character looks. No. Screw you. You're not a fan. Get out. More of that. Harada, I'm going to buy you a beer someday, and we're going to talk about this. Can't wait. Here's something that on the surface seems like really stupid, and I think this is going to be one of those things that the video game industry talks about later. I didn't see anybody mentioning anything about this. Okay, so it says the world's smallest smallest shooting video game uses nanoscale technology. It says a research team. Okay, blah 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 blah. Yeah, we'll go into that. It resulting in a game. It manipulates nanoparticles in real time, resulting in a game that is played with particles approximately 1/1000th of a meter in size. All right, so it says this research is a significant step toward developing a computer interface that seamlessly integrates virtual objects with real nanomaterials. The game demonstrates what the researchers call nano-mixed reality, which integrates digital technology with the physical nano world in real time using high-speed electron beams. These beams generate dynamic patterns of electric fields and optical images on a display surface, allowing researchers to control the force field acting on the nanoparticles in real time to move and manipulate them. The aim of the team was to create an intuitive and engaging way to showcase their technology. As fans of vintage video games, they designed an interactive shooting game inspired by classic arcade titles. Dubbed by Hoshino, one of the scientists on this, as the world's smallest shooting game, it enables players to interact with objects at a nanoscale level. So it's really cool. It shows him doing this with a controller. Very cool. Here are the implications on this. It sounds like they did it to get some publicity, to get some eyes on what they're doing, which is great. Everybody needs that, right? So this is the important part. Scientific implications. Beyond gaming, this technique makes it possible to manipulate and assemble biomolecular samples at the smallest levels, with potential applications in nanotechnology and biomedical engineering. They frame this as, it says, we could 3D print the created objects in real time, potentially revolutionizing the world of 3D printing, or use the same guidance technique to guide toxic agents to virus cells in living organisms and kill them. I got chills just now reading that. I read this article earlier, thought it was cool, but just think about the implications on something like that. It's incredible. So that might be one of those articles that we just see now, and then all of a sudden it's going to be normal. You know, like the creation of Teflon, but maybe less destructive, right? Like the underlying technology that drives a lot of things is always cool. Big bucks in that. I wonder if there's a way we can invest in that company. Moving on, here's one from Rock Paper Shotgun, and this is more of like an open-ended question for you. It said, please, please, I'm going through puberty over here at 40. Please find some good video game music for the next several hours of work. So another video game music question, right? What game soundtracks do you go to? There's one that came up in my feed. It was a game called Dustborn. I can't remember the guy's name, but it was a platformer where you used brooms and swept and all that stuff, and it just had a banging soundtrack. Video game music. So that was made for it. So I don't think licensed really counts right now. I think Parappa the Rapper is always good. In terms of licensed, does anything get better than Wipeout? They really had it back then. I think it was like Aphex Twin and Chemical Brothers and that stuff. Can't beat that. Orbital, I think, was a part of that. Oh, tired. Think about it. I always think about Zelda when I think about the best video game music. Shadow of the Colossus rings true. Right now, Avowed is really good. Really, really epic music. Colette, my wife, and I, Colette is my wife. It came out weird. We've been playing it, and she's behind me. We're almost like back to back. And at one point, she's like, babe, the music. And I go, I know. What is going on? This is so good. It just has that, like, it reminded me a lot of Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. Not the violin solo. Remember that one? Beautiful track. Okay, moving on. This one's at Marca. I don't know what site that is, but it says, what are the consequences of excessive video game use in the future? Video games are an excellent form of entertainment, but excessive use can have consequences. Like anything, right? Excessive gym time. If you do the bad form, high weight, you are going to destroy your body. I have since pulled back from high weight and gone more into really measured form and low weight, and I'm in the best shape of my life, aesthetically, physically, lots of improvements there. But if I would have continued on that route, I think I would have really damaged my body. But you can damage your body from just sitting there playing video games as well. It says a recent study by Casino Virtual offers an insight into how gamers could physically change by 2040. Although some changes are identified that could be considered negative, it is important to address these aspects without demonizing video games, while at the same time recognizing the opportunities they offer for personal and social development. Boom! Could not have said it better myself. According to the study, because I'm so much better. Yeah, right. According to the study, one of the most noticeable changes in the physical appearance of gamers in 2040 could be the result of sedentary lifestyle associated with long hours of gaming. Many gamers are expected to experience an increase in postural and muscular problems due to a lack of regular physical activity. This could manifest itself in a higher prevalence of conditions such as scoliosis or carpal tunnel syndrome, highlighting the importance of incorporating active breaks and specific exercises into the daily routine. Similarly, prolonged use of headsets could change the structure of the head, and hand posture when playing could change their morphology. However, it's not all negative. As awareness of health and wellness increases, initiatives are emerging within the gaming community to promote a more balanced lifestyle. Exercise programs specifically designed for gamers, as well as the use of wearable technology to monitor physical activity, could help mitigate some of these adverse effects. In this way, gamers will be able to adopt healthier habits without giving up their passions for video games. Great. Love all that. Don't disagree. There's one thing that I want to talk about from that. Exercise programs designed for gamers. The dumbest thing. You don't need a special program designed for you because you're a gamer. Imagine that. Like, we're going to have an exercise program designed for movie listeners, and then we're going to have a special program designed for music listeners as well. And also, we should have one for the readers of this world. Just dumb. There's no use. It's just marketing. If someone comes out and they're like, oh, you're a gamer? Oh, yeah, I got a program specifically for gamers. Don't listen to them. Walk away. They are a charlatan. A lot of personal trainers I see are charlatans. If you're listening to this and you're one of the people I just reached out to and said, give me your personal trainer's plan, you haven't yet. I'm worried about you. I see people with personal trainers and doing compound exercises. They do squats into shoulder presses. What is that? What is that? I saw one person doing kickbacks, like tricep kickbacks, while they were doing like a leg thing, and they're kicking their leg out, and they were doing opposite side. It was so bizarre. Don't do that. If you need some help, just reach out. Okay, you can find me. I'm on the internet. I'll help you. Lots of ways to get better. I couldn't read this article, but I'm still going to talk about it. It's at Ad Age. It says, how Walmart's new video game miniseries, don't scroll, lets consumers buy real-life products. Players will be able to buy real-world items following similar activations on Roblox and Zepeto. I don't know. There's a gaming platform called Spatial. I don't know what it is. This is so dystopian. Who cares? No one's gonna like. If you're really gonna push out these special platforms to sell your to hawk your products, no bueno, man. No bueno. Speaking of no bueno. Back in the day, in the 2000s, especially around like the mid 2000s, brands creating games was all the rage. On my Xbox 360, I have a now deleted game that was made for I think it was Toyota Yaris, and it was regarded as one of the worst games of all time. It was distributed for free on Xbox. was like that Pepsi Man game, but it was this bizarre arcade style game, and it was just meaningless. If anything, I think they paid money to make their brand look worse. So this article says there was an official Dodge Caliber video game, and it's weirder than I can't pronounce that. Weirder than you'd ever guess. So you can be a bug and like navigate the interior of the vehicle and get information on it as you're doing that and complete challenges. There was some weird stuff happening around that time. So back in the day, there was a game called Mr. Mosquito where you fly around a mosquito and bother people and do all that. And I think they were trying to be clever, but I don't think that really landed at the time. Last couple of news items here. This one says, introducing Muse, our first generative AI model designed for ideation. This is over at Microsoft. And I'm not going to read all this. I was thinking about going through some of the technical stuff. I don't want to bore you. If this is your ASMR podcast, I can do that. I can do a whole reading of tech and big words and put you to sleep if you want. But this one, the short of it is Microsoft is using AI models and training lots of things to make games, use AI to make games easier, and not in terms of difficulty, the development of them. So a lot of people, this is a very controversial thing that's happening in the gaming industry right now, and I see both sides. So let's dig into this a little bit. The career people who have spent their lives, engineers, doing lots of different things, they're going to be out of a job, or maybe their job is going to shift in a different way. That sucks. That's terrible. Absolutely terrible. On the flip side, if we can find a better way for people to get their ideas that are in their head into a playable state and more actualized, that is a win for us all. So you think back to, and I've talked about this before, I believe, the way albums and music were once recorded was at a studio. You book your time. You got to get access to these incredible preamps that make you sound good. And there was a lot of gatekeeping for various reasons on who could and couldn't make an album. Of course, like the 2 tracks and those things existed at the time. But if you really wanted to make something that sounded good, it had to be in a studio. And then it shifted. And so digital audio workstations, DAWs, came out, like Pro Tools and Logic and all those things. And the idea of making an album in your bedroom started to become a normal thing. I think Moby was one of the people that was really famous for that. And lots of other people, of course. And then it came to the film industry. And more people are able to make films just on their iPhone. And you can do everything you can at home. People, 60 years ago would have not have imagined what we're able to do at home now. So that's cool. More people are being creative. More people are becoming filmmakers. Now, it's going to happen to games. It just is. That's just the way that this works. It's coming for this industry. It's going to be easier. Ultimately, the point is to get people creating in a faster way, in a more meaningful way. That doesn't take away the possibility of collaborating on an album of talented people coming together and creating a game. What we need to do is support projects, support creative endeavors that are real, that are genuine, and that are meaningful to the industry that we want to be a part of, both as a consumer and a creator. So, if people are creating AI slop using AI programs, do not buy them, do not support them. But if people are creating good stuff, hopefully it rises to the top and we can all share in that, right? Right. Okay. All right. I won't read any more about that one. Okay. This one just came out. I literally just saw it like 5 minutes before this. I kind of scanned it, so I'm going to be reading a bunch of it right now. This is the last news item. We like to end on a good note. I get a drink of the tea. Have a drink of that beer, especially if you're listening at 7 a.m. 10 a.m.? I don't know when this is going out. It says how digital therapy video games enhance cognitive and physical rehabilitation. Video games designed as digital therapies can help people with ADHD, brain injuries, and cognitive challenges by activating neuroplasticity. Northeastern's Tony Simon is at the forefront of this innovative research. Okay, we're going to read a lot of it because I find this fascinating, and a lot of this touches on my life directly. It says people with ADHD, learning difficulties, or brain injuries from strokes can experience huge focus, cognitive, and rehabilitative benefits from a surprising activity, playing video games. For more than 30 years, Northeastern University cognitive neuroscientist Tony Simon has worked on the leading edge of developing digital therapies that can alter brain function. Simon, who joined the Oakland campus in January, said video games can be designed to activate specific areas of the brain and essentially deliver treatment to people recovering from brain injury or why can't I say these words together? Or who have neurocognitive challenges. While commercial games are designed to keep players engaged, therapeutic games activate specific brain processes that unlock the brain's neuroplasticity, or ability to change structurally in response to stimuli. The brain is an active, dependent organ, Simon said. You can't swallow behaviors. A digital therapy must operate as a closed loop, he said, that continuously adjusts and personalizes the challenges to change the brain's machinery. Keeping users engaged can be challenging because the game has to constantly keep the user at or near their optimal performance level in order to create neurocognitive change. In other words, players never win. But these products are digital therapies, not games. Simon spoke at a symposium on games and the extended reality industry on Northeastern's Oakland campus. Extended reality, or XR, describes any technology that blends physical and digital reality. Over his career, Simon has helped create extended reality therapeutic games for people with very different treatment requirements. One digital therapy called Fast Brain, that's capital F, capital B, targets the neurocognitive systems that underlie a genetic disorder called 22q11.2 deletion syndrome, which causes intellectual disabilities among other symptoms. Simon's research contributed to developing Fast Brain, which has led to behavioral and brain processing improvements for children who played the game. Simon helped another therapy for people rehabilitating after a stroke using head-mounted virtual reality. Cognitive VR creates tasks in an immersive world that adapt to the patient's physical capability. After playing the game 5 to 6 times a week for 8 weeks, patients experience significantly improved smoothness of movements. That's huge. What we're developing is a precision medicine because a video game is very adaptive, Simon said. At every moment, it is figuring out what your capabilities are and adjusting the challenge provided. In a previous role at Ackley Interactive, Simon helped enhance and expand the company's Endeavor products, which have improved symptoms for people with ADHD who have difficulty focusing. The therapy forces players to complete tasks while simultaneously suppressing distracting stimuli. Unlike medication, which temporarily stimulates neurotransmitters to improve focus, digital therapy changes brain machinery permanently. Trials involving children and adults with ADHD show significant improvements in focus and quality of life. So, amazing. So what I really want to say, closing remarks here, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it's not video games. It's not interactive entertainment necessarily. It's just a way to interact. There's so much more to this medium than what we've discovered. They're finding ways to change your neuroplasticity using interactivity. That's incredible, but it's also dangerous. Remember, lots of technologies in the world have been developed with good intentions. I just get really weirded out, to be honest. Very weirded out and terrified at the potential for bad actors to take this and run with it. So hopefully these things can be good, and hopefully companies out there, insurance companies and therapeutic centers and hospitals are up to date on this information. Hopefully hospitals and people doing physical therapy and mental therapy as well have ways where they can get headsets to stroke patients so that they can actually do this. If there is science that says it works, we need a system in place to provide people with the means, with the access and means to do this. I don't know if you know anyone that is suffering from the effects of a stroke, but I am. And these types of things need to be available. And if people are suffering from ADHD, and I say suffering, not that everyone who has ADHD that suffers, but I know people with ADHD that would say they suffer from it. And if we can help these people, we should do everything in our right to do that, especially in a country that has the financial means to provide for everybody. And on that note, I'm taking this anger and I'm going to go to the gym. So thank you so much for listening. I'm pounding on my desk because these are issues that are not being talked about in this industry. That, you know, there are too many people that say, don't talk about this. Don't talk about politics in this industry. Don't talk about politics on LinkedIn. But we should, because politics are affecting people's access to the things they need. What if companies like this could get government contracts? What if insurance companies could start providing Oculus headsets and the software to people that can benefit from it? Just think about how our industry would flourish, how we can use this industry, how it could grow, the benefits of that. Just extrapolate that. It could be amazing. All right, I'm Kyle Stolick. This is Endgame Recap. Thank you very much for listening. I'll talk to you all next week. Bye.